In this video, we are going to learn about human resource planning, which is one of the most effective business strategies. Among all HR functions, HR planning is one of the most crucial business functions, and as per the current business environment and also challenges, organization needs to be very effective in having the wonderful people strategy which is flawless. And as per the size of the organization, human resource planning can be adjusted. The presentation includes human resource planning process, features of HRP, then I would be covering what are the objectives of HRP, then forecasting the demand. We are going to cover three methods. Number one, judgmental method. Number two, trend analysis. Number three, workload analysis. And after that, we are going to take the next step of HRP, that is preparing manpower inventory, where we are going to talk about internal supply forecasting. In this, we are going to cover four techniques. Number one, staffing table. Number two, Markov analysis. Number three, skills inventory. And number four, replacement charts. Then we are talking about determining the manpower gap. When we are going to study the HR process, we'll see that there are four steps. The first step is this, forecasting the demand. Then the second step is preparing manpower inventory, and the third step would be the manpower gaps, and the fourth step would be formulating the HR plans. Then let's talk about staffing models, and very importantly, lastly, we are going to study linking organizational strategy to HR plans, which is really important in today's time. So what do we mean by HR planning? Recruitment and selection process starts with HR planning. It's very important because it answers three questions. Number one, what positions to be filled? Number two, how many positions would be filled? And number three, how they will be filled. Sorry, my handwriting is so poor. Let me just erase it. I'm just trying again. So you can also take notes. What, how many, and how they will be filled. Number one, what, number two, how many, and number three, how they will be filled. So you can see there are various definitions given on the screen, and in simple words, if we say that we can define HR planning as the process of getting the right people at the right time at the right place, in simple terms. So let me elaborate more. So HR planning is a strategic process. It's a strategic process used by organizations to ensure they have the right number and types of employees with the appropriate skills and capabilities to achieve the organizational goals. It involves forecasting HR needs, assessing current workforce capabilities, and also identifying gaps and developing the action plans. So this process helps organizations manage their human capital effectively, supporting overall business objectives and ensuring long-term success. So in simple words, let's talk about the definition of Ashwatthapa. HR planning is the process of forecasting a firm's future demand for and supply of the right type of people in the right number. So this was the definition of HR planning, and ultimately it answers your three questions. Number one, what, number two, how many, and number three, how they will be filled. So let's move to the next slide. Next, let's talk about the process of HRP. Number one, forecasting the demand. Number two, preparing manpower inventory. Number three, determining the manpower gaps. And number four, formulating various kind of HR plans. So what are the features of HRP? It is a future oriented process. It is a goal oriented process. It's both qualitative and quantitative. See, when we are using this forecasting techniques, it could be qualitative. For example, we are taking the opinions of experts using Delphi technique or some other techniques, or it could be quantitative also, using the quantitative techniques. And the next one is it's a continuous process, and it's an integral part of corporate planning, because if you don't have the right HR planning, you won't be able to have the efficient or effective outcome. Then optimum utilization of resources it ensures, and it's also the part of SHRM. For example, we just saw that in the first content slide we showed that organizational strategies need to be in the alignment of HR planning. This is part of SHRM, that is strategic human resource management. And then it could be of long term and as well as short term. So these were the features of HR planning. Now let's talk about the core objectives of HR planning. We understood what, how many, and how the positions would be filled. It answers 3 questions. Now let's talk about what are the objectives. On the basis of those, the definition, we can figure out that the objective is number 1, forecast the manpower needs. Number 2, it ensures a coping mechanism. Number 3, it has the objective. The objective number 3 is usage of existing manpower effectively and efficiently. Right? Number 4, on the basis of HR planning also, for the positions which are getting vacant at the top, the people can be on the basis of their talent or present skill set, they can be promoted upwards. So HR planning also ensures this thing. Forecasting the demand for HR, which is the first step of HR planning. So primarily let's talk about the 3 basic steps of forecasting the human needs or the manpower. So the first one is judgmental method, which is a highly qualitative method. As we talked in the characteristics of HR planning also, it's qualitative and quantitative both. So we would be covering this aspect, judgmental method. And the second one is trend analysis, which would be covering, and the third one would be where, okay, in trend analysis we are going to determine on the basis of the past trends, we are going to project the future needs of HR. Then the third one would be the workload analysis, where on the basis of the workload, the number of manpower requirement would be projected. So let's talk about all these 3 methods in the upcoming slides. Judgmental method. Judgmental method of HR forecasting relies on the subjective insights and opinion of the individuals, or you can say experts or managers, in predicting future human needs. So in forecasting, let's talk about 2 approaches. One is called bottom up approach, where the information is gathered from the bottom and it is sent to the top. And the second one is top down approach, where top management is involved and they have this they conduct a session, for example using Delphi technique, that is also a consensus, the group consensus technique, where the top management is talking about how many people would be required. So in judgmental method we have bottom up approach and we have top down approach. So both the approaches are highly qualitative in nature. Delphi technique. So Delphi technique method was invented by Olaf Helmer and Norman Dahlke of the Rand Corporation in 1950s for the purpose of addressing a specific military problem. The method relies on the key assumption that forecast from a group is more reliable as compared to the forecast by a single person. So they reject the forecast made by the single person, but they rely on the expert opinion made by a group. So the method relies on the The aim of the Delphi method is to construct a consensus forecast from a group of experts in a structured manner. In this method, the facilitator is appointed in order to implement and manage the process, and forecasting is based on the consensus of the panel of experts. Experts refine their opinion phase by phase, and they reach a consensus. So it involves the following stages. For example, number 1 is the panel of expert is assembled. Then the next step is to initial the forecast and justifications, and the feedback is provided until the satisfactory consensus level is reached. Then final forecasts are constructed by aggregating the experts forecast. Then final forecasts are made. So this is the total process of Delphi technique. So always remember this. This method is based on the assumption that rather than relying on the single person's opinion or the single expert opinion, this method is relying upon the group of experts consensus. Okay. So the next one is, as you can see on the screen, the trend analysis. So as you can see, okay, HR needs can be estimated by examining the past trends as well. So past rates of change can be projected into the future, or employment growth can be estimated by its relationships with a particular index. For example, occupational shortage index, that is also called OSI, which measures the level of gap between demand and supply of workers in a particular occupation. You can go to this OSI on internet and just study more about that. For example, this index is essential for long-term labor market planning and development of policies to facilitate employment in market which promote economic growth. Fine. So as you can see, the year is given here, and the production unit is 5,000, number of workers is 100, the ratio came here. Then for the next year, we are saying the estimated production is this much. So number of workers required is, now on the basis of this method, we have found that there are 160 employees which would be needed, or the workers would be needed. So let's say if supervisors have a span of 20 workers, then 8 supervisors are also be needed in the year. The third method is called workload analysis. As every organization is having the problem of absenteeism or turnover, and also they have some projected output also for the year. So the company tries to calculate the number of persons required for the various jobs to a planned output after giving weightage to the factors such as absenteeism and turnover, as given in the slide. So workload analysis involves examining the amount as well as type of work required in the different roles and departments, and how it is distributed among employees. The goal is only one, is to understand the work demands, assess the adequacy of the staffing levels, and identifying opportunities for the improvement. As you can see in the slide, the first one is planned output for the year, that is 10,000 pieces. Standard hours per piece, 3 hours. Then planned hours required, how many hours are required for this particular output? 30,000. And these are the productive hours per person per year, allowing for absenteeism, turnover and idle time. So 1,000 hours we have estimated on annual basis. Now let's talk about the number of workers required. So on the basis of this data, we can say we require 30 workers. So if the span of control in this unit is 10 per officer, then the 3 officers are also required. So this was workload analysis. So we studied judgmental method, then trend analysis, and this one was workload analysis. With this, the first step of human resource planning is completed. Now let's move to the second step. The second step is preparing manpower inventory, or in this we talked about demand. In the second step we are talking about the supply. How many people do we have in the organization? So estimated internal labor supply for the time, okay, for the given time frame. Okay, so you have the sources of inflows, that is transfers, promotions, new recruitments, and then recalls. Then you have projected outflows, which is promotions and quits, terminations, retirements, deaths, and layoffs. So employees are coming in also, employees are going out also, and then this is the current staffing level, which keeps on changing. You cannot say that in the starting of the year the 500 employees were working in the organization, and also in the December month or the financial year ending only the same 500 people are working, because in human resources what happens, the things are not certain due to some emergencies like health emergencies, family emergencies, or any emergencies, preferences. People, they either leave the organizations or they join some other organizations also, or they are sometimes promoted as well. So how it is calculated? See, the current staffing levels are there minus projected outflows this year plus projected inflows this year equals to firm's internal supply for the next year. So this is how we are going to estimate the firm's internal supply for the next year. Okay. So primarily let's talk about the 4 supply forecasting techniques, where we have staffing table number 1, number 2 Markov analysis, number 3 skills inventory, and number 4 my favorite, my personal favorite, replacement charts. The first one is staffing table. It tells about, as you can see in this picture also, it tells you about the number of employees in each job. It's a tool to visually organize and plan. Let me change the color. Needs, okay. It is a tool to visually organize and plan to current and future staffing needs of an organization, and also it helps in tracking the number of employees in the different roles and their qualification, and how these qualifications align with the organizational goals and future requirements of the company. So as you can see, we have number of employees, then the number of employees currently in each role, like this, they are the number of employees in each role. Okay, then you have vacancies, then you have means current or anticipated work job vacancies, current or anticipated job vacancies. Then future needs are there, future needs, projected staff needs based on the growth or the strategic changes. Then these are the employee details also. For example, Ritesh senior high performer, Sonali junior needs training, then Malvika is there sales associate, then Malvika is there mid-level experienced, and Sanju new hire onboarding. Then in marketing team, marketing director Pratham Sarkar, then a senior high performer. Then marketing specialist Suresh Sharma, mid-level high performer Karthik Mishra junior needs development. IT, in IT manager is there, then Vidyut Roy senior high performer, and John Abraham John Abraham junior developing. Then IT support specialist Saif Ali Khan mid-level high performer, and Virat Sharma junior and needs training. So this is how it's a visual representation of the of the entire staff, and it tells you about the number of employees in each job, and visually represents and plan the current and future staffing needs of an organization. This was the first method of supplying inventory. It is very interesting. As you can see, the Markov analysis, it describes the various states that employees can occupy, such as entry level positions, mid-level positions, and senior roles or retirements. As an outcome, you can see this transition matrix, which is generated and represent the probabilities of employees moving from a junior positions to a senior role. As in the matrix, you can see, let me just highlight for you, as in the matrix you can see the 6% sales executives got promoted, 6% sales executives got promoted, and 20% are leaving the job. So this is Markov analysis. This technique is used, this technique actually uses the historical rates of promotions, transfers and turnovers to estimate future abilities in the workforce. Based on the past probabilities, one can estimate the number of employees who will be in various positions in the future. In other words, we can, or in simply words, we can say that it's a statistical method used to predict the movement of employees from top to bottom or bottom to top in various roles. So now let's talk about the third method, that is called skill inventory. So skill inventory is as you can see this also, every single individual or the employee is maintaining its separate skill inventory. Skill inventory means it's an assessment of the knowledge, skills, abilities, experience and career aspirations of each employee, and this record should be updated at least every 6 months. These actually right now the time is of we have reached the uh, technical time, or the real, we are working in real time scenarios, so it needs to be updated immediately also. So let's not talk about just 6 months. Why would we wait for 6 months to update our skills or knowledge? If we have done some kind of courses, or some kind of certifications, or some kind of training, it's high time to give this information to the HR department of the organization, and update the same to our skill inventory, so it would be useful for our future needs. So this record should be okay, and once established such a record, it helps the organization also to quickly match the forthcoming job openings with the employee background. It offers the details of employee skills, qualification and experiences. As you can see, various kind of things are given. For example, the education is given, then the special qualifications are also given, the memberships are also given, the name is given, the every employee is given a code, then keywords are also given. For example, supervision and analysis, tax, leisure, supervision, computer records, then work experience is also given, then department is also given by the code, then the location, the hobbies. See, for example, from hobbies also we are understanding a lot of things. For example, chess means the person has is analytical. The football is a person is a team worker. Boating means a person is going to be a hard worker, or a person is likes to take challenges. And in languages, the French is written, accounting, auditing. So this is the visual representation of a person's skills, where organizations can easily identify what kind of skills are needed for a particular forthcoming job. So the fourth one is replacement chart. As I told in the contents as well, this is one of my personal favorites, and it answers this thing: who will replace whom if the position gets vacant. So as you can see, there is general manager and the code is given A2. This is the key. A means promotable now and 2 means above average performance. Now PA2 general manager L Matthews B1 means the person would needing in the development and superior performance. Then assistant general manager RK Adoda A2 means promotable now, above average performance. Then BK Nehru B3 means needing development and acceptable performance. Now in division, HR manager, division accounting, division planning, and technical advisor. The same way the names are given, the designation is also given with the offices also, the zones also, and certain codes are assigned, and the key is here. So whenever any position gets vacant, this is a replacement chart which is going to give information about the uh, which the available inventory in the organization and people who can be promoted to the particular position. Till now we talked about the internal supply methods. Now let's talk about the external labor supply. So in external labor supply we have job boards, then recruitment agencies are there, then referrals, social media and websites. So external hires needs to be contacted when suitable internal replacements are not available, and while internal applicants can also apply for those positions, your human resource department mainly targets recruiting efforts toward outside applicants. So there are many methods for external recruitment. Then what are the significant factors that determine the external supply of manpower? So number one is your wages. So wages need to be very competitive. The second one is competition of labor. Okay, what is the competition means as per the location. Then the demographic and immigration trends. The fourth one is what are the different kind of recruitment policies the organization or the state government or the particular country is using. Then individual preferences. Every single individual is unique, so the nature of work would also be unique. For example, there is a Holland's model also where he talked about the personality job fit theory. So people choose their profession on the basis of their personality. Then the nature of job, same thing. Some people may like the nature of the job because it matches with their personality, and some people may not like it. Then the perception of jobs. For example, there are some jobs which are not considered to be a good job in Indian scenario. For let's take a small example. If you go to USA, there are many students who are working part time, and they are working in McDonald's. They are working as waiters on the hourly basis to raise their pocket money. But in India the same thing cannot be happen, because in India people don't consider it is a very nice thing, and they are very they have this opinion about the kids that till the time they are studying they should only focus on study, and they should not think about the money. So once they get into a job they can think of anything, but till now for like initial study years, uh, they are supposed to stick to the studies only. So the next thing is determining manpower gaps, which is the third step in our presentation or the HR process. We have covered so far forecasting demand. Let's just quickly revise what we have studied so far. We have studied forecasting the demands of for HR, where we studied about judgmental method. We talked about workload analysis. We talked about trend analysis. In preparing manpower inventory, we talked about replacement chart, Markov analysis, then skill inventory, and then staffing table also. We talked about staffing table also. So RMSS, JWT. Now we are talking about determining manpower gaps. So as you can see, the number of the years are given here. Years are given here. 1, 2 and 3. Number 1, it says number required at the beginning of the year. The number will come here. Then changes to the requirement forecast during the year. Then total requirements at the end of the year. That is 1 plus 2, means we are going to plus this one and this one, this one and this one. So it will come here. That would be your demand. Now let's talk about number 4. That is number available at the beginning of the year. Then additions means transfers or promotions. Then let's talk about Number 6, that is separations, means retirement, wastage, promotions, out or other losses. Fine. Then as we did plus here, we are going to do the plus thing here as well. We are going to plus 4, 5 and 6. For example, the number available at the beginning of the year, then additions, transfers and promotions, and the separations also we are going to plus. So that would be the supply. Then total available at the end of the year would be 4, 5 and 6. Then if when we minus this from this demand from the supply, we are going to know that they would be either deficit or the surplus, that is 3 minus 7. So this minus 3 minus 7. 3 minus 7 would be the reconciliation. So losses of those recruited during the year of the above, and the additional numbers are needed during the year, that is 8 plus 9. So reconciliation of the above manpower needed. We have covered forecasting demand, then preparing manpower inventory, and also determining manpower gaps. What I have not covered so far is, which I also spoke in the contents, is number 1, formulating HR plans. Number 2, staffing models, like various HR staffing models. Number 2, this is number 1. And number 3, or linking organizational strategy to HR plans. So for these three topics, I would be uploading a new presentation, and you can study these 3 topics from the upcoming presentations. Till now, like, thank you so much for watching my video, and I hope it is going to be helpful for you for your MBA and BBA sessions. So these are the references which I have used in preparing these slides. You can also go through them. Thank you for watching.